Xbox Series X specs announced. This was posted by Vegetable Stew on the forum. So the CPU is going to be 8 Zen 2 cores at 3.8 gigahertz or 3.6 with SMT apparently. So SMT, formerly known as Intel Hyperthreading, but now that AMD has it, we're going back to the generic non-Kleenex name. We're going with the tissue paper, name.
Like the variable refresh rate compared to G-Sync.
That's right. So it means 2 threads, or actually more. Is it IBM that does 4 threads per core on some of their CPUs? I think so. But it means multiple threads per core so that the pipeline never gets empty. And there is a power toll there, so that would explain why they might need to drop the frequency down a little bit, depending on what the console is doing. Yeah, that's right. 7 nanometer. So basically, this is like a Ryzen 9, whatever, the Ryzen 7 something or other. I can't remember which one the 8-core, 3 high gigahertz one is. The GPU is going to be a 12 teraflop 52 compute unit, 1.825 gigahertz custom RDNA 2 graphics card. It's going to have 16 gigs of GDDR6 memory, so it looks like we're seeing a return of shared memory between the GPU and the rest of the system.
And by the way, that memory spec is the same as the PS5, but those previous specs, CPU and GPU, are actually a little lower than the PS5. The PS5 is clocked lower than that, and it has 2 fewer teraflops than that on the GPU side.
Ooh, interesting.
It's gonna suck!
Interesting. Storage is going to be 1 terabyte of custom NVMe SSD. Why are they doing a custom SSD? Just use M.2. Why?
Yeah, especially considering, my first thought was maybe it's just the design of the thing so that it fits in this really tight chassis that they're making. But M.2 is tiny.
It's tiny.
There's no way.
You're already just a computer. Okay, other than the shared graphics memory for the CPU. So we get a 4K UHD Blu-ray drive, 120 FPS support.
I'm interested in the 4K the 4K Blu-ray drive.
Why?
Because I want
Don't you have Plex? Get good.
I don't have gigabit.
Get good. You don't have gigabit. You
I
don't
just
have
got
gigabit
fiber.
networking in your house. Oh no,
The
you don't.
building just got fiber, so I have 150 up and down.
Oh, okay. No. So you can run your Plex thing in a closet though.
No, but I don't have a Plex server. I have an account. My friend has one, and I am on there.
Okay. Well, okay. So
wait, hold on. Be careful what you say here, because you're about this close to James getting upgraded for a video.
Okay, so my point is that the better way, if you're going to watch a because it really is the best way to watch a movie, especially if you have a nice TV, which I believe you upgraded your TV.
I have an OLED.
While back. Yeah, you've got a nice TV.
And by the way, I bought my OLED from a liquidation auction sale from something gets returned to Best Buy.
I remember that.
Yeah, remember it had a little scratch about this big.
It was tiny.
On the front.
Yeah.
And I remember I looked at the photos before I bought on the auction, and I was like, oh, that scratch. It was kind of an extreme close-up photo, so I had no scale for the scratch. I didn't know if it was this long or this long. I didn't know where. If it was in the top corner, in the middle, I didn't know at all. I show up there, and it's right there in the middle. On this screen, it would be here. And it's about a centimeter long, and I was like, and then they gave me the option.
Really? You don't have to take it?
You can leave it, take it or leave it. And I took it. And then when I got home, I was like, why did I take this? And you'll remember I came into your office because I was doing a bunch of research on how to fill in scratches like that.
Oh yeah,
There's a bunch of techniques on the internet.
Yeah. You wanted to make a video out of it, but then I think you wanted me to sacrifice a different TV so that we could find out the right method so that you could do it on yours?
No. I want, no.
Okay.
You said, we'll do it on your TV, but if it breaks, you're just screwed. And I said,
I think I did say that.
No, we'll do it on my TV, and if it breaks, then you have to pay for it or replace it or something. I was like, I get nothing out of this. You get a video and I get nothing.
You would have gotten free scratch removal kit or whatever.
It would have been the video that I write. I would have to have done on the research.
Well, I would have paid you to write it.
Anyway, it's a non-issue. I don't even remember that the scratch exists most of the time unless I'm watching in a sunny day because the light has to hit it.
Right.
So
the Blu-ray really is the best way to watch a movie, but
and a 4K Blu-ray player is about $120, $150.
Which is a great value, except that you can just, okay, so I will confess to you, I don't bother ripping Blu-rays anymore, but much of my Plex library, not all of it, not all of it's possible, not all of it's released yet. Some things I admit I've been lazy about and I'm a little bit behind, but much of my Plex library is physical media backed. but I don't bother ripping them anymore. But the ultimate is ripping real Blu-rays to a Plex server and then just using that to stream the media around your house or out of your house. So I have a good enough connection that from anywhere I can just watch a full quality Blu-ray copy.
What bitrate is that?
So it goes
like 70?
It goes up to as high as like 80 plus depending on the movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's pretty heavy. But as long as your server is okay and as long as your connection's good enough, which yours is, as long as you've got like a symmetric fiber connection.
If I was invited to yours and I streamed that, could I ever get that bit rate considering my fiber connection of 150 up and down?
Yeah. My in-laws are on it.
So you're saying I need to get on that?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm comfortable sharing it with people that I could just as easily share a physical copy with.
You wouldn't lend me I lent you a book and you've had it for like 9 months.
Okay, so that's true. I haven't finished yet. So here's the thing though. That's where I think you end up in this really, really slippery slope. And I know that slippery slope arguments are inherently flawed, but for me the line is as long as I have in good faith made every effort to have a physical backed up copy, I don't feel bad about what is effectively not permitted, copying this media and hosting it on my own server for my own consumption. Now,
but you're considering the distribution that you're doing to be within the confines of what you would do with physical media.
Yes, and so it's easy enough to say, okay, well, hey, we all work here together every day. Why don't we all just buy 1/30th of every movie that comes out, because we could just share them with each other, create a work repository of Blu-rays.
We've got a bunch of board games over there.
That's our we do, and people can borrow them. So our physically backed up, digital library that we all share, and it's like, okay, now we're getting pretty close to a torrent site, which is effectively what that is. Now, not always, and actually, yeah, in basically every case, any good quality torrent would be from someone who paid for the content.
Yeah,
so,
a good quality one, yeah.
Yep.
I guess
or no, even a bad one, even a chem. You still paid to be in the theater, technically.
Hey, yeah,
like,
I
sort
guess
of,
so.
yeah. So that's
well, unless you work there.
So I don't know. So that's a slippery slope. So my line right now is family.
I'm not offended. You have many employees.
Family.
That's another slippery slope. Someone else might be like, oh, I want to be on it.
Luke's on it too. So family and Luke. Luke's my exception. He's on my Google Play Music account too. I put him on like literally years ago.
I know. It was on WAN show recently.
Freaking guy.
You can watch that on the LMG Clips.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're actually talking about
right.
the specs of this.
Okay, right.
So it
Specs
has
of
a
this,
Blu-ray player that's 4K.
which I agree is a big deal if you live in the Stone Age and you rent Blu-rays at the store or whatever.
You know what though? There's a video store by my place that I would love to support, but they don't have 4K Blu-rays, and they probably don't have them because no one has a 4K Blu-ray player because they cost more. And I'm wondering if when this is really saturated and everyone has a PS5 or Xbox Series X and they all have these players, maybe that store will start stocking more.
Yeah, because the One S has it, but the One S, I would be interested to see the true numbers, but I suspect the One S is a relative, the newer versions of the Xbox.
Like the One X, S and X.
S and X, I believe, also has it.
No, X is the better one, so it would.
It came out after the S. It was more to do with when they were released, because the original Xbox is actually better than the S, if I recall correctly. Is it, or are they the same performance? I can't remember. Is the S just a smaller one?
No. The S has, I think, a better hard drive, and then the X was stronger so that you can play 4K.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, so I would suspect that because those didn't come until later in the life cycle, a lot of the Xboxes out there do not have these 4K UHD Blu-ray players. So once we have a new console that gets, a year or two into its life cycle, I think we could expect your local movie rental store, if it still exists, to have
if they make it through
4K.
this slump.
Right?
That's the type of business that might not make it through.
Oh yeah, for sure. Streaming. If I'm Netflix right now, I'm laughing. If I'm Disney, I'm laughing a lot less. Because Disney Plus, I'm laughing, but my theme parks, I am. Oh boy, I'm not laughing. Did you see oh man, we are never going to get through these specs. Did you see they were talking about reopening Disney World?
Why?
With reimagined visitor experiences, something like that. They were working on it, basically. I was like, how are you going to do that? That doesn't make any sense. And I don't know, who would go?
How did this hit the media? Like, that seems like something someone's thinking about long term, but they would never have announced yet.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Okay, let's just ignore that. Let's pretend that never happened. So, potential for 8K resolution, although I would not expect to be gaming at 8K unless we're talking like, you know, back catalog, like Xbox 360 games or something like that. Ray tracing technology, although we don't know exactly, you know, what form that's going to take, it certainly won't be using any of NVIDIA's proprietary nonsense. And compatibility with Xbox One accessories. That, to me, is like the coolest thing out of all of that, because everything else was basically expected. What other CPU were they going to use?
ARM.
Yeah, exactly. We're going back to we bought Sony's cell processor unit and we made a new cell processor. Get real, you know?
Remember the Killzone 2 trailer?
Yeah, 120 FPS. Wow, what a big surprise that an HDMI 2.1 connection can run 120 FPS. Saying 8K or 120 FPS doesn't mean anything because we don't know what actual details the game is running at. You could go get an Xbox 360 and if you had an HDMI 2.1 output, you could run a game at 8K 120 FPS. It might be Pong, but those are just
the smoothest moving balls.
Right, the highest resolution Pong of all time. That ball, so round.
It's like that ball is coming right at my face.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean anything. To me, the fact that they are finally stopping this practice where we just get milked on rebuying the same plastic controller.
Especially when it's the same controller.
Especially when it's basically the same.
They've perfected that controller. I have 4 of them. I don't want to buy 4 more.
Exactly.
And they're expensive. 60, 80 bucks.
So whether they did it through an adapter or whether they just made it natively compatible, doesn't matter to me as long as there's some way to keep using them. Because that's one of the coolest things about the PC, is that I can still use my Logitech Dual Action that I bought in high school. Because why not? It's just a USB connection. Everyone's just using USB. And so if you're gonna just use industry standards, then just use them. It's a driver. It's just that's all it is. Just load it on there. So they're finally doing it. Kudos to Microsoft.
Your pills.
Love it.